Why big tech is building a brain cell data center? Right now, inside a high tech lab in Australia, a dish of 800,000 living human brains, actually mini brains, that are grown in labs, are wired up on chips, learning to play Doom in 3D world. They are learning faster than any AI ever could, and now they are scaling up into full blown biological data centers running in Melbourne and Singapore right now. Welcome to the era of organoid intelligence. We are officially crossing the line between artificial and biological. They are called wetwares, and companies like Cortical Labs and researchers at Johns Hopkins are literally building the next generation of data centers out of living human tissues that use less power, lesser than your pocket calculator. And today we are diving into why Silicon Valley is going bio and how a wetware computer might be the only thing that can save the future of AI. Last year, Australian biotech called Cortical Labs just dropped the CL1 and they called it the world's first code-deployable biological computer. Inside it was about 200,000 living human neurons grown directly on a silicon chip with a multi-electrode array. In February 2026, they showed that these neurons are now playing the full 3D classic Doom. The neurons are firing and these characters are moving, learning through trial and error just like a kid. Now they are scaling it big, partnering with Day One data centers. They are building two biological data centers. One prototype already unveiled in Melbourne, Australia, housing 120 CL1 units. The bigger one is in Singapore, up to 1000 units. And instead of racks of power hungry like NVIDIA GPUs, these facilities run on wetwares, the real brain cells. Now, to understand why we are really putting brains into boxes, we have to look at the massive problem with the current AI. The AI revolution is exploding. ChatGPT, Grok, Midjourney, they are everywhere. But behind the scenes, massive data centers are sucking down enough electricity, enough to power entire countries, boiling through billions of gallons of water and heating up the neighborhoods like mini nuclear plants. For example, GPT-4 is a marvel, but to train a model like that, it takes megawatts of power, enough to run thousands of homes for years. And our current silicon path is hitting a wall. We are running out of electricity, and more importantly, we are running out of data. Think about this. The human brain operates on about 20 watts of power, and that's barely enough to light a dim bulb in your hallway. Yet with that 20 watts, you can learn to drive a car, master a language, and experience complex emotions all together. To do what your brain does, a modern supercomputer would need its own dedicated nuclear power plant. This efficiency gap is why researchers are looking at the wetware. Silicon is great at math, but the biology is great at learning and adapting. So how do you actually build a computer out of living human brain cells? Well, you don't have to directly take neurons out of any brain. It starts with the stem cells. Scientists can now take ordinary skin cells and reprogram them into neurons. These neurons are grown in labs into 3D cluster called organoids. These aren't mini brains. They don't have consciousness and feelings. At least we don't think they do, but they do have the ability for synapse to process the information. For this, researchers created BrainOware. They connected a brain organoid to an array of electrodes to send electrical signals to the neurons derived from the human blood stem cells, induced into pluripotent stem cells, and then differentiated into neurons. The neurons respond and the system records that activity as output. It's a hybrid. Biology does the smart, adaptive learning, while silicon handles the interface. In further experiments, they gave the brain cell chip a task to recognize the voice of one specific person from a pool of Japanese vowel sounds. After just 2 days of training, the biological mass was accurately identifying the speaker. It didn't need a billion parameters, it just learned. Okay, let's break down the tech. Super simple but revolutionary. You take adult donor cell, skin or blood, turn them into stem cells, grow them into neuron clusters, brain organoid, then plate them onto a custom silicon chip with electrodes. Cortical has 59 channels. The system feeds the neuron electrical inputs, like game state from Doom. The ball here, pedal move there, and the neurons fire spikes. Their activity control the output, and if they do well, the feedback supports these connections. Some systems even use the dopamine-like rewards to mimic how real brain learn. It proves that neurons can form goal-directed behavior in a closed loop with electronics. And with the data centers planned right now, this is moving from lab toys to the infrastructure. But why is this really better than the GPU in your gaming PC? Just two words. Structural plasticity. In your computer, the hardware is fixed. To learn the software, it has to do all the heavy liftings. But in biological computer, the hardware changes. The neurons physically grow new connections to solve different problems. This leads to two massive breakthroughs. Low energy, as we mentioned, biological AI uses a fraction of power. Lifelong learning, unlike current AI, which often forgets old data when it learns the new data, called catastrophic forgetting. Biological systems are built to stack knowledge indefinitely. CEO Hon Wang Chong put it perfectly. Each CL1 node needs less power than a pocket calculator, orders of magnitude less than a modern GPU. Imagine a self-driving car powered by a biochip. Instead of needing a trunk full of hot, power-hungry servers, it uses a small, nutrient-fed organoid that learns the nuisance of all the specific cities' streets just by living through the drive. Okay, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. This is a little creepy, right? We are talking about the human neurons. If we scale up these organoids from 800,000 cells to 10 billion, at what point does the computer become someone? Researchers in this field of neuroethics are already sounding the alarm. If a biological computer can learn and respond to its environment, does it have a basic form of sentience? There is also a question of biological copyright. Imagine if your skin cells are used to grow a computer that discovers a new drug or writes a hit song. Do you own the intellectual property or the lab does? And then there is a black box problem. We already don't fully understand how AI models like GPT-4 make decisions. If we use a literal human brain cluster to drive a car, how do we debug it when it makes a mistake? You can't always read the code of a living neuron. But we are still in the early days. The biggest hurdle right now isn't the science of the brain, it's the plumbing. These cells need a constant life support system. Oxygen, nutrients, waste removal. The companies like Final Spark in Switzerland have already launched what they call the world's first bioprocessor platform. They allow researchers to remotely run tasks on biological neurons via cloud. In the next 10 to 20 years, we might see hybrid data centers, huge facilities where silicon chips handle the heavy math, but the biological wetwares, they handle complex reasoning, pattern recognition, and creative problem solving. But before you go full on matrix mode, let's be real. The question remains, can these keep up with the top NVIDIA chips on raw speed and scale for massive AI models? Well, not yet. The company admits they haven't proven it. Biology is unpredictable. Neurons die, connections vary. We spent the last century trying to build a machine that thinks like us. It turns out the most powerful computer in the known universe was already inside our head, and we are finally learning how to plug it in. In this next step in human evolution, or a path we should never have taken, one of the things is for sure. The line between born and built is disappearing. Will you buy a CL1 if it drops to the consumer price? Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.